Lights, camera, boost.
Oh, I'm trying to fix my hair and she's taking selfies. No. Teamwork makes the dream work. Even when we're here, you still got to make sure you look the best. Oh, no. No, that's good. It looks really nice. Happy days. So guys, we're here. We are on the couch in Rosa's beautiful home.
I'm Rozalia Russian.
I'm Lana Wilkinson.
And welcome to The Archive. I am a fashion entrepreneur, content creator. I hate that word, but that's what I do.
You're amazing. And I am the founder of shoe brand Lana Wilkinson. So I'm a shoe designer and a stylist. And I'm a mum and a wife. I've got two beautiful girls.
I've got a beautiful girl and a boy. Obviously a dog who has separation anxiety. You'll see him in and out of most episodes.
Absolutely.
And welcome to our new podcast.
We are super excited to really lift the veil on our industry. We've both worked in fashion and in social media for about 15 years. We have got married in that time, had families in that time, run businesses, built businesses in that time. And we just really want to take you behind the scenes on some of the things you didn't see, the good, the bad, some of it a little bit ugly.
And things that you may not have seen because you might see us on social media and everything's all hunky-dory, everything's all glossy and shiny, but we're going to unveil and lift the lid on what really happens behind closed doors. We always say we wasted so much time.
Dreadful amount of time.
The smallest things.
Yeah.
So we are here to open up the archive and take you through a journey of lessons learnt, mistakes made, starting with us.
Our first episode is actually called The Fallout, which details a bit of a breakdown of relationship between Rozalia and I that occurred about 12 years ago, I think.
Yes, it started off great and then we ended up yelling at each other at an event. So something that we, looking back now, are so
mortified by.
And ashamed.
Ashamed, all of the big words, embarrassed. And I think we really want to set the tone that whilst we've never spoken about this publicly, a lot of people in our industry knew about it. And I think the thing that we want to share is that if we could go back and speak to our younger selves, I would never have behaved that way towards you. I know you would never have behaved that way towards me. And I think one of the things that we are really proud of is that you can have that full circle moment and come back to kind of end up on the other side and be sitting here.
Absolutely. In each episode, we hope to share different learnings that we've learnt and something that you can take away, whether it's in a business, personal relationship. So yeah, shall we get started?
Sounds like a plan. All right, let's do this. Although I am going to say I'm very nervous about this. I didn't really sleep much last night.
Oh, yep.
But only because I think where we've been, it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But I think where we are now is like that full circle moment.
Absolutely.
So I think it was 12 years ago, I think was the first time that we met. Would that be about right?
Yeah. So we first met on a photo shoot 12 years ago. You were styling me and we actually bonded because we were both very early in our pregnancy. I think we were about 10 or 11 weeks.
Yeah, nobody, and I hadn't told people I was pregnant and neither had you. And we were sitting at like really glamorous guys. It was in like a cubicle somewhere in some restaurant or shopping centre or something. Yes. I can't remember exactly. And I went to dress you and you were like, I just need to let you know I'm pregnant. I was like, oh my God, so am I. Yes. So it actually really started off really quite amazing, really.
Yeah, we started well.
We did.
We started on a high, on a good foot, and then it kind of went wrong.
It kind of went wrong. And I've thought about this a lot, and particularly over the last 24 hours, and I had to kind of go back on the gram, to be honest, and sort of look at where we're at. And for me, I think, and again, there's a bit more to this story in terms of where we stepped away from each other and it kind of all blew up. But if I look back at where I think where I've got to take responsibility was not being able to dress you for spring racing carnival.
Yeah. And
that might sound really petty, like, oh, you couldn't dress it. It wasn't. And I can appreciate when I look back now, and especially when I looked at the volume of people I did, that would have felt, given we had done a few jobs by then, that would have felt like, why can't you do me?
And at that time, guys, we're talking about 12 years ago when you're really trying to cement yourself in
absolutely.
this industry. And I personally felt like I had to fight for every job because whether I liked it or not, this might be controversial in saying, but I feel like at the time a lot of people were looking at, who are you? It was all new, this social media work.
Who are you dating?
And who are you dating?
Yeah.
Is she married to a footballer? Is she dating a footballer? And no, I wasn't. And so I felt like I, missed out on a lot of work, and I really had to fight for my place in this world.
Yeah.
So then, we went off, we had our kids, we had our first daughters. And then I remember reaching out to you. I was booked on a job to work at the Spring Racing Carnival for Emirates.
Yeah.
And I reached out and asked if you would style me. And you said no.
Yep.
And I took it very personally.
Yeah, but
I know you did, obviously.
No, she definitely did. Yeah. But when I look back at, and I'll acknowledge that, when I look back last night, I can appreciate why you did.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate when you felt like that. And interesting that you talk about, which we've spoken about, that you talk about having to fight. And whilst we certainly weren't in the same lanes, I definitely felt the same way within my industry because I hadn't come from magazines. I'd come from sort of where social media and styling sort of didn't go hand in hand. So I was quite aggressive in my approach as well, very insecure about where I sat as well. And I think at that time, what you didn't know and I didn't effectively communicate was, I think the commitment was probably 6 or 7 people just with that job. I'd also committed to 4 or 5 other people that had multiple days. So I think overall I worked out last night, over the course of that week or two, was something like 25 or 26 looks. And that's a lot when you're dealing with high-profile talent. What nobody knew at the time was I was also pregnant with my second child. And I just felt at that time taking on more was something I couldn't do. But I can appreciate, I probably didn't, and I know I didn't explain that to you at the time because it was still early days. And I have some stuff that we'll unpack later when we talk about different birth experiences and things that I'd felt like I'd bitten off more than I could chew. But I can totally appreciate that when I looked at how many people I did and what I did, that just would have felt like, well, am I not good enough? I thought we were friends. And I think for me, it's interesting that you're now, as a friend of mine, somebody that's a big proponent of me saying no. But I want you to understand, I have a lot of experiences with not just you, and you're probably the one that took it the most personal, that when I've said no, there's always been a consequence.
Yeah. And looking back for me as well, the reason why we are able to sit on this couch, because it did get a lot messier than it got really messy. But the reason why we're able to sit on this couch is because we both are able to look back at our own actions, how we reacted in that situation. And we've both come such a long way that now I would never, ever react or feel the way that I did. I didn't appreciate that you had so much other work to do.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I took it personally because I felt like I was fighting for my place.
And, we won't go into all of the nitty gritty. And it was nitty gritty, wasn't it? Like you'd go to events, it was uncomfortable. You'd walk into rooms. Sometimes it got to a point where you'd go, do we want to be in each other's presence? It sort of became bigger than what it needed to be.
Yeah.
But I think it culminated in, we're at an event and I think by this stage a few years had gone past and the other thing, whilst you might be somebody that takes things personal, I really like to be liked and I like approval. I definitely did at that time, and I did not like that you didn't like me, and I was like, I'm going to try and do everything I possibly can to fix this. And funnily enough, going into that event, and I knew you were going to be there, I was concerned about going because I feel like this might boil over, never anticipating what it turned into that evening.
My coping mechanism is to shut down and to take a step back and just to remove myself from the situation. And for me, that was removing myself from you and not wanting to be around you, not speaking to you. Like we were at events, guys, and we did not even acknowledge each other.
Oh, no, it was awful. It was
awful.
Back now.
That pit in your stomach.
And I would say, especially being parents to girls, and we talk about this all the time, like, you never get that time back.
No.
Like even if we had and I think it spiraled as a result. And I would say that to anyone in relationships that are breaking down, both ones that are business or personal, you've got to have the conversation. It's uncomfortable. It's yuck. But when you build it like that, it just and then it started to impact other people around us. Like
it was uncomfortable for everyone around us. It was almost like teams.
Yes.
Are you Rosa or are you Lana? It was awful.
And horrendous. Like I say that out loud, like that makes me feel like awful. Like, and I think what horrible on our part to put other people in that position as well. Not intentionally, I don't think, but still.
It was like, where does your loyalty lie?
Yeah.
Like, why are you saying hi to her? And I look at the way that I acted back then. I'm like, oh my God, you were so petty. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
And I think it all stems down to lack of communication.
Agree.
So then we got to this event.
Yes.
And let's just say after a few maybe champagnes.
Yes.
And not enough food. Like we were hanging around and it was like, like that really fake chatter, like that banter, like how are you?
I found
your dress
video where I was clearly like, trying, like, come over here. All right, we're in an Uber together. I remember. I even remember what you were wearing. It was this yellow and black Alex Perry
dress,
and she looked fierce. And I was like,
it was fake.
Yeah,
it was so fake.
It felt fake.
So we're at this event, and then 1 minute we're staying there having a drink, and then I don't know, something happened, a comment was made, and I just remember launching into you.
I remember very clearly.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you, get it out.
Yes.
Get it out. You've been hanging on to this for 7 years. I had to hear it from everybody else. Go on.
And that was the
it.
thing. You're right. Something I didn't mention, something I'm not proud of. I just sat there talking about you to other people. I was just so consumed by this.
Yeah.
And so, I remember being at this event. I think not to laugh about the situation because it was absolutely awful, and I would never, ever speak to someone like that. And it's something that I completely regret because I'm so not that person anymore. I'm not. But don't you remember at one time we're like at each other, I'm like, you. And then someone walks past and like, oh my God, Lana and Rosa, can we have a photo?
I remember that. And then we're like, yeah. Sure. Like, oh my God, I love you. And then we're standing in this photo mid-fight.
Yes. And then she leaves and we're like, and then this and this and this.
By the time we got to that next venue, and I want to state as well, in between all this, like Nick and Liam are friends.
Yes.
We're all friends.
Yes.
Yes. And they weren't there, and I always stand by, if they had been there, it would never have got to that, because I think they would just be like, what are you two doing? And I also want to state they never got involved.
They never got involved. They would be embarrassed.
Oh, no, they were.
They were so embarrassed that
Liam was
we were acting like that.
Horrified.
Now, Lance, we have a quick interruption to today's podcast to chat to you about Bondi Boost Lock Drops. They are an anti-shedding scalp and hair serum. So when you're running around between kids and work trying to have some kind of a social life, your hair can end up a bit stressed too.
Exactly. And that's where Bondi Boost Lock Drops come in. They're like a little wellness moment for your hair. I'm totally about that. Designed to reduce hair shedding by boosting hair bonds.
Now, I'm all about wellness, and this is like a spa trip for your hair.
And Rosa, you can put it in your hair anytime, anywhere. The non-greasy formula makes it perfect for daily use.
So if you want fuller, thicker hair and that kind of I've got my life together vibe, make sure you check them out at bondiboost.com.au.
That is definitely our journey. Thank you to Bondi Boost.
And looking back for me now, I was like, well, when you really break down as into why a person acts or reacts in a certain way, a lot of it comes down to insecurity and 100%. Unhappiness. And I look at me back then, and that was me. I was insecure.
And I think but from that experience, I remember just feeling like shameful. It was devastating at the time. And then fast forward to, I think it was Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, so after all this, again, we didn't speak. We hadn't spoken for ages.
And COVID was on at that time as well during that period. So I think some growing up had occurred. Real problems had occurred.
Real problems had happened. And I look back at that time and I'm so ashamed of the way that I acted and the way that I made you feel. But I feel like if that didn't happen and if we didn't had it hadn't had it out that night, there's no way we would be sitting on this couch right now.
No way.
Because within those 3 years of after that happening and us not speaking and being in COVID, I know both of us walked away and we did so much reflection.
100%.
And I looked back and I'm like, well, what made me act that way? I'm not this person. I'm not this nasty person who yells at people at events, who makes people feel this way.
Yeah.
As I said, I was so embarrassed and ashamed. So why did I act like that? And it comes down to being insecure and unhappy.
Yeah.
So that was my aha kind of moment.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm also too, like, you weren't alone in that, you know, like if I could go back, I would do things differently. I would have had conversations. I would have been honest. And I feel like when we'd finally kind of done all that growing and we ended up where we were working on the same project at the same event, and we actually ended up going back to Bar Bambi. And we were sitting there and I remember there was a few other people and I think people that were on our team to kind of really start to sort this out.
But before that, remember, we had the launch party. So my husband opened Bar
Oh
Bambi.
my gosh, yes.
And what people also don't know is that Lana's really good friends with Nick's brother.
Oh, Daniel.
And Nick. You're actually really good friends.
And I got a really good friend. I've known Daniel for years, like since I was like, I think 17.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I've forgotten about that.
Yes.
Yeah, we got it.
So I'm the only Russian that you weren't speaking
that I
to
wasn't
at that
speaking
stage.
to. And again, though, the boys, they don't get involved. And then obviously too, like I'm having had my own business in that time and trying to grow and keep it relevant in COVID and all those things. When Bambi opened or when we were invited, I was like, no, you know what? We're going to go. I'm going to go. It's a big deal. I'm going to go. And Liam's like, I think this is a good thing. We need to go. You need to just move on. You need to grow up.
And we hadn't seen or spoken to each other since that event at this stage.
No, not at all. Like in 3 years, really. Because you got to remember, we were in lockdown.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember walking in and I was absolutely shitting myself. I was like, geez. And you got to remember, the last time I saw you, you were screaming at me. So I was like.
You didn't really want to see it. You weren't that excited to see me.
No, that's not true. I actually was ready to go, whatever happens, I need this to be done. And I just, because like I said, I'd carried it. It was like a burden. But I remember just sort of like, I still remember you had on this red Minot outfit. Isn't it funny? I always remember the outfits. And you look beautiful. Yeah. And I remember just thinking, I've just got to go up and go right up to her and go, congratulations, you know, this would take so much effort to get all this happening and, you know, thanks for having me. And I remember just going, you're welcome, have a good night. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's good. It was progress.
Yes.
It was progress.
I didn't yell at you.
And then I was in the nosebleed section, but that's okay. I was like, that's all right. We're in the same room and we're not death staring at each other.
Yep.
So,
baby steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
And I do think there were, by that stage as well, there were a lot of people, and I think everyone had grown in that time. I think we all were forced to. They were really championing us to just move forward.
Well, as you said, COVID had happened, big world problems, and I think everyone was just sick of us talking about it as well.
Yeah.
And just like, guys, you just need to sort your shit out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember that night at Bambi. There was so much going on behind the scenes at Bambi as well. So I think I was just like, oh my God, my head was like spinning that night.
It's your business. Yeah.
And then we had Caulfield races.
Yes.
Where we were booked at the same event.
Yes.
And we were actually in a conference room together. We were working.
Yes.
And I felt like we spoke to each other that day.
That day was
fine.
great. That day there was I felt a lot of progress.
Yes.
You know, like where I sort of was like, because I remember the invitation came and you, I think maybe you said, oh, do you want to come back to Bambi with us?
Yep.
And I was like, oh, wow, this is, yes, sure.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, progress.
And big shout out to our girlfriend, Effie.
Effie Katz, yeah, she was
really was just like, guys, this is stupid. Like, come on, Lana, you're coming back to Bambi. Come on, let's go.
It really, absolutely, actually. And I think as well too, because she wasn't as close to us at that time previously. And I think was like, you're actually both so similar. Yeah. Like, just sort this out. And then I remember we were sitting down towards near the DJ and then Nick came over with this huge thing of drinks. And I was really like, it's just the way I am. I was like, oh, no, no, thank you. I'll buy some. I don't want to be where I'm, you know, taking from you. And then you leaned over and said, well, I reckon after what happened, I could buy you a drink.
I think I said after yelling at you, I could buy, I owe you a drink or something like that. Yeah.
And then I joked and said, well, yeah, we could probably do this train another one, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then I remember leaning over and saying, I'm really sorry. And then I feel like we kind of were both had a moment and then we'd had a few more drinks. And then, I don't know, I remember Effie filming a video of us singing and dancing and hugging, and there was just relief. Just relief.
That it was like, it's over.
That it's over.
It's over.
And I remember, isn't it funny, because I still maybe felt, I hope it's okay. And we were talking on Instagram over DMs the next day. And then I forwarded you the video and I had a sense of it's really, we're good when you posted it. Yeah. And then I reshared it. And then I saw all the reshares of it. I was like, oh my God. Like you sort of thought nobody knew, but everybody knew.
Everyone knew. Like everyone knew. It was, as we mentioned, it was uncomfortable for everyone. I'm that type of person as well, where I feel like you're the same. Once I have something to say, and I say it, that's it. I can move on.
Yeah.
I won't hold on to
things. You are like that.
And I can move on. And since that day, now you look at us and there has been open communication. There's been so much trust rebuilt as well, and us realising that we are so much more alike than what we think, the way that we raise our kids, the way that we run business, the way that we, always put our family first, our husbands, like we are so actually similar.
Yes.
And when you look back at that time, and I know I've mentioned it so many times during this episode, in your quote that you always said to me, happy people don't hurt happy people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in my best place at that time. Yeah. I was unhappy.
I think it's really important that we remember that time, but it's in the past now and we leave it there.
Absolutely.
And I think even as we've talked about this, it's felt very cathartic, okay, we're moving on.
Yep.
But I'm just very grateful and I wouldn't change any of it, even the bad bits.
Yeah.
Because I think where we are now is such a great place and it's a new place.
And it's something that we'll never speak about ever again.
Ever again. Ever.
So guys, that is the story. You may pick your jaws up from the ground.
We spilled the tea.
I've got 2 questions for you. The first question is, if you were to give advice to someone going through a similar situation, what would you say to them? But my second question to you is, in hindsight, if you could speak to that Lana back then, what would you say to her?
So what I would say to somebody going through that in their personal relationships, their work relationships, and just in general, is don't let things fester. Have the hard conversation. I could have intervened earlier, and I think that's the thing. Maybe I should have come up to you at one of those events and just gone, hey, can we just talk this out? This is gross. We don't want to be like this. I don't want to carry this. And I think the thing I would say to my younger self is, this is not going to serve you. And now, when I look back, I'm just sad. I'm sad that we lost that time. And I'd say that to anybody who's going through that, don't let those things fester, because the relationship at one point was really great. So honour that. And now I look back and go, oh my God, in some way it was how fortunate that was our biggest problem. We've got healthy families and healthy relationships and good businesses. I think at times, in the moment, things seem bigger than what they are.
Yeah.
And I'll be grateful in a lot of ways that whilst it was probably the worst thing that we could ever experience, I'm grateful in a way that we did, because we wouldn't be here now.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 Everyone on set's crying. What I would like to say is that, looking back, for anyone going through, whether it's a business relationship, a friendship, a partnership, a personal partnership, if you're going through something like this, I would actually say sometimes have empathy for the other person. That's because you don't know what they're going through.
That's right.
And I took it so personally. I was so self-centered that I just took it to heart. I'm like, well, why doesn't she want to style me? Is it me? She hates me. But had I have actually known or thought, well, do you know what? Maybe she does have a lot on her plate, or maybe she's going through something, I would have acted with a lot more kindness and empathy. So I feel like that's my big advice, is that you never know what someone's going through behind 100%. The scenes.
There comes a point where you can't let the hurt rule your brain, you know what I mean? Because it's not going to serve you.
Yeah.
And for me now, I think it's really important that we as friends and as people that are working together is having the people around you that are cheering you on. And I think that's probably been the biggest lesson I've had, you know, is over the years, you keep good people around you who also keep you accountable to be your best version, you know. Some of them are sitting here today.
I know. You know me, I'm a big believer in energy and having good energy and having good people around you who want you to succeed. And I think looking back, if I was to say something to Rosa at that time, I would honestly tell her just because someone else is winning doesn't mean that you can't win either. There was so much competition, and I just wish I was more confident in myself to not be so, I guess, threatened or just in competition with everyone.
The thing that's the irony in this is, like, from my perspective, you were winning. You were winning. Like, you weren't not the face of something. You weren't not looking amazing, you know, like, you don't allow those doubts to creep in. And that's one of the reasons I'm really excited to do this with you, because I want people to see what I see.
Oh, you're going to make me cry now. And I don't cry.
No, she really doesn't.
Yeah.
But you're, you know, I really hope, not only just from a personal perspective, that growth is there, because that's where we are very similar. And you've heard me say that before. That's why you're teaching me to say no. Yes. And have it as a full sentence.
Isn't it funny now? I'm like, oh my God, she said no to me. The irony. And now I'm telling her up, say no, say no.
But it's also like you know, there's a lot of things that are quite similar about us where I didn't feel like I was achieving. And it's like, who are we comparing ourselves to? Yeah. It's crazy. It is. And that's what I would say to the generation coming up behind is just stay in your lane. You know, when you're running and you're looking back, you're not focusing on what you're doing. So from my perspective, you were winning. And, you know, I just feel grateful that we can be here now, and hopefully we can both win.
Absolutely. And having daughters, I think it's so important for us to share these takeaways, and you never know, you might see them in future episodes. But this is a little taste of what's to come this season on The Archive.